Let's go. Game time. The standard is the standard. That's our motto. That's our creed.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Better Baby Daddy podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, John Laxman.
I'm your other co-host, Kelly Burgess.
You got that locked in now, baby.
Practicing.
No more ho-hosting.
Done with that.
Today, we're going to talk about finances and how that impacts your mental, your emotional, but also your children's mental and emotional well-being.
Yes.
If you're always broke, your kids are going to end up paying the price.
They are.
I don't know how much more simply I can say that.
It flows downhill.
Man, does it ever.
They're going to feel it.
And that doesn't mean that there are not certain variables at play that really impact your ability to generate income, to save money, or not to be broke, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But your kids are still going to feel that.
They are. Yeah. There's no way around it. And we were talking, pre-show that the moment you split up, you have two households, no matter what the friction was when y'all were together, two households that are going to at least be temporarily less financially stable.
Mm-hmm. And there's no other way around that.
Mm-mm.
Especially if you built your household on the two incomes.
Yes.
That's the big one.
Yes.
If you built that household solely on, listen, we can't make our mortgage, our car payment, send the kids to school, get gas, unless we have two incomes doing that.
Yep.
That instability is going to be chaos at its finest when that split occurs.
Yes, it is. Multiple levels. So we're going to talk a little bit about, 4 or 5 things that we've learned along the way. Hopefully you can avoid and apply some knowledge on the front end. But let's dive into it.
So how does financial instability lead to emotional instability?
So so let's talk about what you get when you get financial stability. Financial stability is stability, which to kids is safety, predictability. Financial instability inserts instability everywhere along the system. So it used to be Saturdays, hey, we go out and get donuts with dad and mom. Now it's, I don't see dad and we don't do donuts on Saturdays anymore because it's just too tight. So that's a small example, but that financial instability, the instability ripples throughout the whole system of the family.
Right. Furthermore, I think that financial instability causes stress, anxiety, internal chaos that you project either knowingly or unknowingly onto kids.
Yeah. And the kids can sense it.
Yeah.
They can smell it like pets.
When they're asking, hey, my friends are going over here and doing this. Can I do that with them? Can I do this? Can I do that? Or like you said, they're used to certain or accustomed to certain routines that require financial resources to do. And all of a sudden, everything that requires money, the answer is a no.
Yeah.
That's like, what? What's going on?
Yeah. And that's on a good day. Yeah. And most likely, I don't know if your experience was the same. You're probably not on the same page as your BM. Those conversations about money are tense and probably not held in private. They're yelled out in the car or at the drop-off or wherever else. And so your kids are going to be seeing and hearing and feeling that. And it is going to, like you said, cause that internal turmoil.
That internal turmoil that you feel, that you project on your kids, like I said, either knowingly or unknowingly, causes chaos internally for them as well.
Yes, it does.
So now I'm always stressed. I'm always anxious. I'm behaving a certain way. I'm quick to snap. And that's, our children have to deal with all of that, things that they shouldn't have to deal with. Right. And that brings us to our quote, right? Your kids don't hear your budget, but they do feel your stress.
Absolutely.
Now, what are they doing with that stress?
Right.
They may not have the skills and the abilities to handle that stress properly. Most likely they don't. Yeah. Because you're not handling it properly. So you didn't give them those skills and abilities.
No. Yeah. I think there's 3 quick ways that you're going to probably see it, manifest in your kids. One is if you have, particularly your firstborn, hyper responsible, they're going to want to feel the need to help mitigate the shortfall, right? Hey, I can pick up a job. Hey, I can do this, this, and this. I can do something to help lower the stress that I see in you, mom and dad. Secondly, they are, like you alluded to, they'll just have outbursts. They see that, they just don't know what to do with this inner frustration and this angst they feel, and it's going to come out either in inability to handle things at school, conflicts in school, or the third thing, the flip side is they completely withdraw. and just kind of go into themselves and go into a world that you'll never know what they're dealing with until it really manifests itself in a bad way. So those are the three things I think happens when they're experiencing that.
Yeah, it becomes very deep. I can just remember growing up myself with financial instability around us and my family. You know, my mother and father were split, and the type of anxiousness that was felt in certain situations, because I was the oldest.
Yeah.
So, you know, you feel like exactly how you elaborated. You know, I felt a certain responsibility to take on certain roles financially that were not my responsibility as a child.
Right.
And there's minimal that I could have done in those situations because, you know, my mom and dad split when I was in first grade.
Wow.
Right. So, but that navigation from a child perspective can cause long-term effects down the road.
Yep.
And how they view money, how they view security and safety, all those things get impacted negatively.
Yeah.
And that, I think it's very important to say this part as well. And financial instability is something that can, and I'm going to like hedge right here, and cannot be controlled in certain situations. Sure. When we're talking specifically about our audience, you might have a great job, and then you might split up from, you know, your BM. You might get hit with child support. You might have to get a lawyer. That's $2,000 to $3,000 for a retainer fee. You might get hit with other financial responsibilities as a recourse to that split up.
Yep.
You might be broke even though you're making $150K a year.
Yeah.
So now what?
Yeah.
Now what?
Yeah.
And I know we're really big on accountability in this on this podcast.
Yeah.
But at that moment, that might hit you.
It's
like,
a shift in your world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the accountability for the guys that we're talking about is be proactive in doing something about it. Don't just bemoan the fact that, man, all of a sudden you got to get your own apartment, or which is not exactly what you want. You have had your income reduced because now it's, you know, as a portion of it, you know, a third of your take-home pay or a quarter of your take-home pay is going towards child support, which you hope is being invested in the kids. Don't just wallow in kind of the reality of that initial blow. You know, partner up and do something about it. So that's the accountability we're talking about. But also, man, we understand being in that tribe. We understand how difficult it is to get up and do something about it.
It's real.
It's real. And so we're not denigrating any dudes that are just having a hard time getting off the spot. We recognize there's a tension between, hey, I know I got to do something about the finances. I know I got to stabilize my situation, but man, this is a heavy lift that I had no idea was going to be this heavy.
Yeah.
So we see it, fellas.
And you may actually go broke fighting for your kids. Like, think about that concept. Just fighting to have visitation, fighting to have weekends, fighting to have 50-50 custody may cause a man to go broke.
Yeah, because you have to invest money to get advocates who know how to navigate the system. Unless you want to do it yourself. But then you're paying the cost of the emotional toll of chasing down all those resources, you know, on your own. But the point is you're going to invest something to get more stabilized and to gain more access to your kids. You're not gonna just kind of let time go by and it's gonna kind of work itself out. The knot's gonna untie. It's not gonna happen. So you're part of our podcast. Like, look, let's get in the mindset that it's gonna be some work, and here's the work that you can do to make sure it's not more work.
Right. At the end of the day, I think I'm going to revert back to, I know I'm going to revert back to what we spoke about in the previous episode. And is that, all right, here's the problem. What's my next move?
Exactly.
Here's the problem. I played a part in causing this problem.
Yeah.
I played a part in this problem occurring. What's my next move? What am I about to do to set myself on a path that I can move in a direction that allows me to begin fixing? And that first day, that first hour, there might not be that much progress. That first month, there might not be that much progress.
Yeah.
That first year, there might not be that much progress. But if I have the foresight to see, if I continue this way, I know I'm going to be able to dig myself out.
Yeah.
climb myself out of this hole.
Yeah.
If I can do that, then I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep moving.
Yeah.
And it's a difficult mindset to carry. It's a difficult mindset to push forward in, especially when you're at your lowest. I've been there. I've felt that financially when I've been at a point where like, dang, I got this much in my account. I need to make it to this time. And then I'm going to hit it again the same month, the same way.
Yeah. It is. And it requires you to be a man you've never been before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably the hardest thing is you got to become somebody that you weren't.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to become that person to be the kind of, father and partner you want to be.
Yeah.
If you have no template of another man who's walked through that, or you're not in a network of guys who can do that, it's probably one of the hardest things you're going to do. But it's worth the effort.
Yeah. And then you think of all that stress and anxiety that you're experiencing, and you still have to be that shield that doesn't allow it to latch on, to be projected on to your children. Yeah. And that's the role of a man right there.
It is.
You're the shield. You're the separator, the divider between that stress, that anxiety, and your children. Mm-hmm. You have to be.
Yeah, you got to be the heat, the absorber. You're like asbestos. Yeah. You got to be able to absorb that fire and keep that nucleus of your family, protected as much as you can.
It's all about safety for your children at that point. And you projecting that stress, that anxiety, and whatever way you're doing it, causes your children to feel unsafe.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we could have a whole episode on the downstream effects on your kids when they encounter that kind of stress. Mm-hmm. We're focused on finances and how to shield them from that by you managing that area better in your life. Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about some of the short-term mindsets that get you hemmed up financially, and then a healthier long-term perspective on finances.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about that then, the relationship between avoidance and debt.
Yeah.
And what does that look like? I know for myself, if I don't look at my bank account, then it's good. As soon as I look at it, that's when it gets bad.
Right.
So if I avoid looking at it, I don't know, you guys said something pre-show that was pretty funny as well.
Yeah. You come from a long line of jokers that open the bills up, just kind of set them on the desk. And you're kind of aware of them, but you're not proactively saying, hey, where am I financially month to month and where do I want to be? And I'm going to do this move today. Mm-hmm. So, I by no means have arrived in terms of the discipline of being better, of doing that month after month, the way it needs to be knocked out the park, growing in that area. But it's sort of like out of sight, out of mind, which is a boy's mindset. Yeah. And a man's mindset is it's insight fully. I know my financial details, soup to nuts, and I've got short-term, midterm and long-term plans to be in a certain position. And when you really top level is I'm instilling in my children now lessons that I didn't get at their age. So when they get to my age, they're just in a different financial realm. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean you're a multi-billionaire, but you are able to manage that part of your life much better than maybe your pops did. Mm-hmm.
Avoiding the bill, avoiding the bank account, avoiding the debt collectors does not lead to successful financial futures. No. It just simply doesn't. No. You can't avoid money, essentially, right? Like they're going to come find you, they're going to get you, and they're going to be like, hey, you still owe this. Yeah. And eventually, maybe it gets charged off, whatever it is, but you're going to accumulate debt that you don't want because you're avoiding.
Yeah. So, man, I just... think that in general good rule of life is just be proactive. Yeah. Make a plan and act on the plan. Mm-hmm. The longer you're not that way, you're just stacking negative pancakes on your plate that you're going to have to eat at some point. Right. And your kids will have to eat.
Absolutely.
So
you have to sacrifice the short term for the long term. Yeah. And that brings us to our next point where that short term comfort versus that long term provision.
Yes.
And it's very natural for humans to seek that short-term instant gratification. Right. Like, I'll just buy these pair of shoes right now.
I was just at that spot the other day mentally.
And I'll have them and I'm good. Yeah. And now we have the option to buy here, pay later joints. Yeah. Like you pay in 4 installments, you pay in 8 installments, whatever you want to do. So you're like, you know what? I couldn't afford the 80, but I can afford the 20 right now.
Right.
And then you're just constantly accumulating debt because of that. So you have to avoid that short-term, short-lived feel good
Sure.
purchase
Yeah.
for that long-term provision.
Right. And so practically, you're like, oh, okay, well, John and Kelly, what do we do? I said, for me, you got to make it difficult for you to spend money unnecessarily. So I went straight old school cash, which is, hey, I got a certain amount of cash for 2 weeks. That's my go-to before I swipe a card. And it's a different feeling. And I think that Dave Ramsey talks about it. And I think that Morgan Housel in Psychology Money talks about the physical act of you peeling that bill off. It hits different.
It really does, man.
When you see that little wad dwindling, it's like, I'm not gonna stop at McDonald's. I'm gonna eat these, those protein meat sticks that I got in my, my office, and drink this protein drink that I already bought. It's providing friction to the spending, and then making the savings and investing, smooth as silk. So you put that savings investing as it comes out of your account, comes out of your paycheck, you never see it.
Yeah.
And it just stacks. So that's one practical way that you can, help yourself with that battle of short term versus long term.
Yeah. That the actual, like you said, that dwindling of the stack. I remember as a kid, I'm like, oh, I have a 20, I have 2 20s or something like that because I was cutting some lawns or shoveling some snow as a kid.
Right.
And then be like, now I got a 10 and a 5, and then I got a 5.
Like,
that feeling of just
right. Then you got a bunch of ones wrapped around a 5, and you feel like I still got a little knot.
Yeah, but you have to avoid the short-term comfort for the long-term provision.
Yeah,
and when you're thinking long-term, we're thinking generationally long-term, right?
Yes.
We're thinking, am I able to provide for my kids in a situation if they get stuck?
Right.
Like my parents weren't able to provide for me.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's putting down the boots.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not going out for dinner. Sometimes it's not going out for drinks, which brings us to our next point, is that your circle is going to normalize frugality or financial chaos.
Yes. I mean, so if you're with the mocha martini brunch set
with the Gucci slip-ons and stuff.
Hey, let's shoot down to Cabo or Dominican Republic. I got a long weekend, or there's some snow coming. If you're in that set, and nothing against that set, but if you're fresh with a breakup and you're trying to stabilize and improve your ability to be a present dad and a co-parent, you haven't locked that down yet, you don't need to be traveling to Puerto Rico. You don't need to be traveling to Colombia. And to put it in financial terms, if you're not around cats that are saying, hey, man, do you have a safety net saved? If just something, if your transmission went, could you rock with that? Do you have 2 to 3 months living expenses saved up? Probably maybe 4 or 5 months if you're just split up. If you don't have cats that are building that kind of mindset of like, that's the healthy way to navigate your finances, you're just gonna be in trouble. And it's easy to slip out for the happy hour and throw $30 down.
Yeah.
When you have no savings, because it feels good.
It does.
Probably put you around a few shorties.
Yeah.
You got a little confidence, a little confidence up. But in the long term, that's not going to benefit you or your kids.
Not at all. It's not going to be, there's no positives that come from spending when you're in debt. It's just not going to happen. You're just going to further the indebtedness, and you're going to increase the anxiety and stress.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, when that bill comes from happy hour and you spent $75 on drinks and nachos, that you really didn't have $75 to spend, or you shouldn't have spent that $75 because the bills are due next week, and you're not getting paid again until after that. Yeah. So that anxiety that's going to build up from spending for that short-term comfort is not worth it.
Yeah. And, the whole point of this is that those kind of bad decisions over and over again cause stress in you, which your kids will pick up on and will cause stress in them. And then you're going to be dealing with a whole nother set of problems with your children.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So just a quick review. I know this is a quick one, right? So let's go back through that. Financial instability is going to lead to emotional instability in yourself and in your children if you're not protecting them with that shield, separating that anxiety and stress from your children.
Yes.
You have to eat that as a man.
Yep.
There are going to be moments if you are separated from your BM, your wife, your significant other, whoever it may be, where you're going to feel some financial stress and instability, especially if you're paying child support, especially if you're dealing with lawyers, you're going to feel it. Can you shield your children? And then can you make the next best move for yourself and your children?
That's it.
Right. And number two is financial stress causes feelings of what's the term there?
Into what? Instability?
Instability, no, a lack of safety.
Lack of safety.
So financial stress or instability is going to cause a lack of safety, a feeling of lack of safety for your children at the end of the day.
Yes.
And your children need to feel safe. If they're not feeling safe around you in your house, they're going to be anxious. They're going to be stressed. That's going to manifest its way in behaviors, how they interact with you, how they talk to you. They'll want to be around you. All of that.
Yeah.
So you got to get your ship going in the right direction. The relationship between avoidance and debt. Stop avoiding the bills. Stop avoiding looking at the bank account. You got to look. Right. You got to get uncomfortable.
You do. And when you were saying that, I would recommend you read Think and Grow Rich. Sometimes it's a switch in your mindset coming from scarcity to what is possible. And you literally have to reprogram your mind that I can have these things and I'm willing to put the work in to have these things. It's a switch of mindset.
It is.
That avoidance is your mindset is scarce and I'm not going to have enough. And that book, you do the principles in that book, it will revolutionize how you think about money.
Put in the work.
Yep.
And then short-term comfort versus long-term provision. You really got to sacrifice that short-term comfort, whatever it may be. You have to, whether it's happy hour, whether it's Columbia, whether it's the movies, whatever it is, you have to make those sacrifices. And I know this word sacrifice draws a lot of like, but it has to be done. There's no other way around it, especially if you're financially unstable.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm saying words right.
Man, hey, man, that Pittsburgh coming through.
It's coming through hard.
I'm telling you, the yins up north, y'all understand what John is saying. I feel you.
And then your circle at the end of the day is either going to drive your financial chaos or your frugality.
It is.
Right? So is that circle one that says, I know you're going through this, bro, so let me get you on happy hour. Just come out with me. I got you. Or is that circle like, hey, bro, I know you just went through that. Let's go to Puerto Rico.
Right.
Like, what?
Treat yourself.
You're paying installments.
Yeah. And a good circle will ask you questions. Hey, what need is that feeding?
Yeah.
How are you doing in this other area? Hey, you said that this was a goal. You still tracking on that? You're not judging you, but hey, man, you said you're trying to do this, but this is what I see. You good? And that's what a good circle will do. Your circle's not your parent, but they will pull you in the direction that you said you wanted to go.
Yeah.
And if they're not, you need another circle. That's it. You're going to become around, I read something recently. If you're around four really financially savvy people, you're going to become the fifth.
Who you spend your time with?
Bingo.
Yeah. That's it at the end of the day.
That's it.
How would you wrap this up? What would you say?
There's so much going on in my mind. I would say, man, we're not saying anything that we haven't traveled.
Yeah.
Or we're not currently working on. It's just be a man of action, be a man, and understand that when you do that, you protect your kids from unnecessary stress because your financial ship is not right.
I like that. Yeah, just be a man and be a man of action.
Be a man.
Another quote that we have up here is, financial instability isn't personal, but it is generational.
It is.
And that right there, man, if you don't feel that, if you're not thinking through that, how your financial instability can be passed down from generation to generation, and the negative impact you're having on your children because you can't get yourself together.
Yeah.
I know, we talked about it already. I know it's expensive. I know child support sucks. I know it drains your account. I know the lawyer fees were exorbitant. But what's your next move?
Yep. And the flip side is true. Financial stability, financial wisdom can be passed down like a gift to future generations. So You choose. That's a beautiful thing. You got a choice about what you're going to pass down.
Hey,
Here it is.
that's a good one, man.
Yeah.
All right.
So stay the course. We're with you, and you're not alone.
That's it, man.
Yeah. So till next time, I'm Kelly.
And I'm John.
Peace.